Listen to me right now. In this moment, your future is not something waiting for you. It is something you are creating. Every thought you think, every decision you make, every action you take today is shaping who you become tomorrow. Most people drift through life hoping things will change, but high performers, people who truly live with purpose, decide that change starts now. And I'm here to tell you, you don't need another year, another month, or even another Monday. You need this moment. I've studied success for years, and I can tell you this truth inspired by Brendon Burchard. Clarity creates power. If you don't decide where you're going, life will decide for you. And when you don't take control, you surrender your dreams to distraction, fear, and comfort. But today you draw a line. Today you say, no more waiting, no more excuses. I am taking ownership of my life, my energy, my direction. You have greatness inside of you. But greatness is not automatic. It's intentional. It's built through discipline when you don't feel like showing up. It's built through courage when fear whispers that you're not enough. And it's built through faith that God has placed something powerful inside you for a reason. You are not here by accident. Your future is not random. It is designed, but it requires your participation starting now. So I challenge you, what is the one decision you've been avoiding? What is the one step you know you need to take but keep delaying? Because your future is hiding behind that decision. Your breakthrough is waiting on the other side of that action. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait until you feel ready. The people who win in life decide, act, and adjust. That's how control is taken. That's how lives are changed. If this message is hitting your heart right now, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel for daily motivation that fuels your spirit and sharpens your focus. And I want you to engage. Drop a powerful quote in the comments that inspires you, and also comment one thing you're believing God for today. Remember this: the future belongs to those who take action today. There comes a moment in life when everything shifts, not because the world suddenly changes, but because you decide to see it differently, to own it differently, to live it differently. And that moment is when you take full responsibility for your life, starting today. Right now, as you are listening to this, you are standing at the edge of a new version of yourself. And the only thing separating who you are from who you are meant to become is the decision to take ownership of every thought, every action, every result. So many people spend their lives waiting, blaming, hoping, wishing things would get better, pointing fingers at their past, at their circumstances, at other people, at the economy, at timing. But the truth is simple and powerful. The moment you take responsibility is the moment you take back your power. When you begin to understand that your life is not controlled by what happens to you, but by how you respond to what happens, everything changes. You stop reacting and you start creating. You stop drifting and you start directing. And this is what high performers understand deeply, something that voices like Brendon Burchard have taught for years. That personal responsibility is the foundation of personal freedom. Because when you say, "This is on me," you are no longer a victim of your story. You become the author of it. And being the author means you can rewrite the next chapter starting now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Not when things feel easier, but now, in this breath, in this second. Responsibility is not about blaming yourself for everything that has gone wrong. It is not about carrying guilt or shame or regret like a heavy burden. It is about accepting reality with clarity and courage. It is about saying, "This is where I am, and from here, I will move forward with intention." Because the truth is, you cannot control everything that has happened to you, but you can always control what you do next. And that is where your power lives. Not in the past, not in what someone else did, not in what didn't work out, but in the choice you make right now to rise, to grow, to act. There is something incredibly freeing about this mindset. When you stop waiting for permission, when you stop waiting for validation, when you stop waiting for the perfect moment, you realize that you already have everything you need to begin. You may not have all the answers, you may not feel fully ready, but readiness is not a requirement for responsibility. Action is. And action begins the moment you say, "I will take charge of my life," regardless of how I feel, regardless of what is uncertain, regardless of what is difficult. Because responsibility is not convenient. It is not always comfortable. But it is always empowering. Think about the areas of your life where you feel stuck, where you feel frustrated, where you feel like things are not moving the way you want them to move. Now ask yourself honestly, have you truly taken full responsibility in those areas, or have you been waiting, hesitating, holding back, blaming something outside of you? Because growth begins the moment excuses end. And excuses are subtle. They sound like reasons. They feel justified. They come from pain and past experiences. But they keep you in the same place. Responsibility breaks that cycle. Responsibility says, even if it's hard, even if it's unfair, even if I don't have all the answers, I will still move forward. And when you live this way, something powerful happens inside you. You begin to build trust with yourself. You begin to see that you can rely on your own decisions, your own discipline, your own commitment. And that trust becomes the foundation for confidence. Not the kind of confidence that is loud and external, but the quiet, unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you will show up for yourself no matter what. That confidence changes how you walk, how you speak, how you think, how you approach challenges, because you are no longer hoping things will work out. You are making things work out through consistent, intentional action. Responsibility also means being honest with yourself. It means looking at your habits, your routines, your mindset, and asking, is this serving the life I want to create? And if the answer is no, then responsibility requires change. Not someday, not eventually, but now. It requires you to let go of what is holding you back, even if it feels familiar, even if it feels comfortable, because comfort is often the enemy of growth. And the life you are meant to live exists beyond that comfort zone, beyond those old patterns, beyond those limiting beliefs that tell you you can't, or you shouldn't, or you're not ready. You are ready the moment you decide to be ready. You are capable the moment you choose to act like. And responsibility is that choice, repeated daily, moment by moment. It is waking up and deciding that your attitude is your responsibility. It is choosing to focus your mind on what empowers you instead of what drains you. It is choosing to take actions that move you forward instead of actions that keep you stuck. It is choosing to invest your time, your energy, your attention in things that align with your future, not just your comfort. There will be days when it feels difficult, when your motivation is low, when your energy is not where you want it to be, when doubt creeps in and whispers that maybe you should slow down, maybe you should wait, maybe you should go back to what is easy. And in those moments, responsibility becomes even more important. Because responsibility is not about doing what is easy. It is about doing what is necessary. It is about showing up even when you don't feel like it. It is about taking the next step even when the full path is not clear. It is about trusting that consistent effort, guided by intention and faith, will lead you to where you are meant to go. And as you begin to live this way, you will notice a shift not only in your actions but in your identity. You will start to see yourself differently, not as someone who is waiting for life to happen, but as someone who is actively creating it. Not as someone who is limited by circumstances, but as someone who rises above them. Not as someone who doubts their ability, but as someone who is committed to growth regardless of the outcome. That identity is powerful because it shapes everything else. Your thoughts, your decisions, your habits, your results all begin to align with that new version of you. Responsibility is also deeply connected to purpose. Because when you take ownership of your life, you begin to ask deeper questions. You begin to think about why you are here, what you are meant to contribute, what kind of impact you want to make. And those questions lead you to a life that is not just successful, but meaningful. A life where your actions are aligned with something greater than yourself. A life where your growth is not just for you, but for the people you will influence, the lives you will touch, the difference you will make. And in that space, responsibility becomes something beautiful. It is no longer a burden. It is a privilege. It is the opportunity to shape your life with intention. It is the ability to wake up each day and say, I have a chance to move closer to the life I want. It is the understanding that no matter where you are right now, you have the power to take a step forward. And that step matters. It may feel small, it may feel insignificant, but every step builds momentum. Every action compounds over time. Every decision shapes your future. You do not need to have everything figured out. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to eliminate every fear before you begin. You just need to decide that you will take responsibility for your life starting today, that you will no longer wait, that you will no longer give your power away, that you will no longer settle for less than what you are capable of becoming. And that decision, made with sincerity and followed with action, will begin to transform everything. Because the truth is, your future is not something that happens to you. It is something you create. And creation requires ownership. It requires intention. It requires courage. It requires consistency. But above all, it requires responsibility. And once you embrace that fully, once you live it daily, once you embody it in your thoughts and actions, you will begin to see a life unfold that is aligned with your highest potential, your deepest values, your strongest faith, and your boldest vision, a life that reflects not what was given to you, but what you chose to build with everything you had inside you, starting from this moment, continuing with each breath, expanding with each action, growing with each decision, becoming stronger with each challenge, and moving forward with a calm, steady, unshakable commitment to take full responsibility for your life starting today. There is a quiet power that awakens inside you the moment you become clear about where you are going, a calm certainty that begins to replace confusion, a sense of direction that starts guiding your thoughts, your actions, and your decisions, and that power comes from getting clear on your vision and your future direction. Most people move through life reacting to what happens, adjusting to circumstances, following paths that were never intentionally chosen, and over time they begin to feel lost. Not because they lack ability, but because they lack clarity. And clarity is everything. Clarity is the difference between movement and meaningful progress, between effort and achievement, between living by default and living by design. When you don't know where you are going, every path feels uncertain, every decision feels heavy, and every setback feels like a reason to stop. But when your vision is clear, something changes inside you. Decisions become easier because they are guided by purpose. Distractions lose their power because you know what matters. And challenges become part of the process rather than signs to quit. This is why clarity is not just a nice idea. It is a necessity for anyone who wants to take control of their future. It is the foundation upon which all meaningful success is built. Something deeply emphasized by voices like Brendon Burchard, who teach that high performance begins with a clear sense of direction and intention. Your vision is more than a goal. It is more than a list of things you want to achieve. It is a picture of the life you want to live, the person you want to become, the impact you want to create. It is the emotional connection to a future that inspires you, that pulls you forward, that gives meaning to your daily actions. And when that vision is strong, it becomes a guiding force in your life. It influences how you spend your time, how you use your energy, how you respond to obstacles. It becomes a filter through which you make decisions, helping you say yes to what aligns and no to what does not. Take a moment to imagine your future, not vaguely, not casually, but with intention and detail. Imagine the kind of person you are becoming, the habits you have built, the discipline you have developed, the peace you feel within yourself. Imagine the work you are doing, the impact you are making, the people you are helping. Imagine your environment, your daily routine, your mindset, your level of confidence and faith. The more clearly you can see it, the more real it becomes, and the more your mind begins to align with it. Because your brain is always working toward the picture you hold most consistently. If that picture is unclear, your results will be inconsistent. But if that picture is strong and specific, your actions begin to align with it naturally. Clarity also requires honesty. It requires you to ask yourself what you truly want, not what others expect from you, not what society tells you is important, not what feels safe or comfortable, but what genuinely matters to you. And that can be challenging, because it often means stepping away from expectations, from comparison, from fear of judgment. But your life is not meant to be a reflection of someone else's path. It is meant to be an expression of your unique purpose, your unique calling, your unique potential. And you can only access that when you are honest about what you truly desire. As you begin to define your vision, it is important to connect it with purpose. Why does this future matter to you? Why do you want to achieve these things? Why do you want to become this person? Because purpose fuels persistence. When your vision is connected to a deeper reason, you are more likely to stay committed when things get difficult. You are more likely to push through challenges, to stay focused during distractions, to keep going when progress feels slow. Without purpose, goals can feel empty. But with purpose, they become meaningful, they become powerful, they become worth the effort and the sacrifice. Clarity also brings focus. In a world full of noise, full of distractions, full of endless options and information, focus becomes one of the most valuable skills you can develop. And focus is a direct result of clarity. When you know what matters, you can direct your attention toward it. When you know where you are going, you can align your actions with that direction. And when your actions are aligned, your progress becomes consistent. You begin to move forward with intention instead of reacting to whatever comes your way. You begin to protect your time and energy, understanding that both are limited and valuable. There will always be distractions. There will always be opportunities that look appealing, but do not align with your vision. There will always be moments when it is easier to choose comfort over growth. But clarity gives you the strength to stay committed. It reminds you of what you are working toward. It brings you back to your path when you start to drift. It keeps you grounded in your purpose even when the world around you feels chaotic. And over time, that consistency builds momentum, and that momentum creates results. It is also important to understand that clarity is not something you achieve once and then forget. It is something you revisit, refine, and strengthen over time. As you grow, your vision may evolve. As you learn, your direction may become more specific. And that is part of the process. Growth brings new perspectives, new opportunities, new insights. But the key is to stay intentional, to continue asking yourself if your current path aligns with your desired future, to continue making adjustments as needed while staying committed to your core purpose. Faith plays a powerful role in this process as well, because there will be moments when your vision feels bigger than your current reality, when the gap between where you are and where you want to be feels overwhelming. And in those moments, faith becomes your anchor. Faith that your vision is possible. Faith that you are being guided. Faith that the steps you are taking, even when they feel small, are leading you in the right direction. When you combine clarity with faith, you create a powerful force that keeps you moving forward, even when certainty is not visible. Clarity also changes how you see challenges. Instead of viewing them as obstacles that block your path, you begin to see them as part of the journey. You understand that growth requires difficulty, that progress often comes through discomfort, that every challenge carries a lesson, an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, more capable. And because your vision is clear, you are less likely to give up when faced with these challenges. You understand that they are temporary, that they are shaping you for the future you are working toward. Your daily actions become more intentional as well. When your vision is clear, you start to ask yourself better questions. Is this action moving me closer to my goals? Is this habit aligned with the person I want to become? Is this use of time contributing to the life I want to create? And those questions guide your behavior. They help you make choices that are consistent with your vision. They help you build habits that support your growth. They help you stay focused on what truly matters. Over time, these small, consistent actions begin to compound. They begin to create visible results. And those results reinforce your belief in your vision. They strengthen your confidence. They motivate you to keep going. And gradually, the future you once imagined starts to become your reality. Not overnight, not without effort, but through steady, intentional progress guided by clarity and purpose. You are not meant to live a life of confusion or uncertainty. You are not meant to drift without direction. You are meant to live with intention, with purpose, with clarity. And that clarity is available to you right now. It begins with a decision to think deeply about your future, to define what you truly want, to connect it with purpose, to commit to it with consistency, and to trust the process as you move forward step by step. The moment you gain clarity, you begin to take control. The moment you define your vision, you begin to shape your direction. The moment you align your actions with that vision, you begin to create your future intentionally. And as you continue this process, day after day, choice after choice, action after action, you will find yourself moving closer to a life that reflects your highest potential, your deepest values, your strongest faith, and your clearest vision. A life that is not left to chance but guided with intention, built with consistency, and lived with purpose, growing stronger with every step you take, becoming clearer with every decision you make, expanding with every effort you give, and unfolding in alignment with the vision you have chosen to hold in your mind and your heart starting now. There is a quiet battle happening in your life every single day, a battle for your attention, your time, your energy, and whether you realize it or not, the outcome of that battle is shaping your future. The direction of your life is not determined only by what you do, but by what you allow to distract you from what truly matters. And the truth is simple. Most people do not fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fall behind because they lose focus. They give their energy to things that do not move them forward. They allow distractions to steal their time, and slowly, without realizing it, they drift away from the life they once wanted to build. To eliminate distractions and focus on what truly matters is not just a strategy, it is a discipline, a way of living with intention. It requires awareness because distractions are not always obvious. They often come disguised as small habits, as quick breaks, as harmless scrolling, as conversations that drain your energy, as thoughts that pull you away from your purpose. And over time, these small distractions accumulate. They fragment your attention, they weaken your consistency, and they make it harder for you to stay aligned with your vision. This is why focus has become one of the most valuable skills in the modern world, something deeply emphasized by voices like Brendon Burchard, who remind us that where your attention goes, your life follows. When you begin to understand the value of your attention, you start to treat it differently. You realize that your focus is not something to give away freely. It is something to protect, something to direct with purpose. Because your attention is directly connected to your progress. Whatever you focus on consistently will grow in your life. If you focus on distractions, you will feel scattered and unproductive. If you focus on negativity, you will feel drained and discouraged. But if you focus on what truly matters, on the actions that move you forward, on the habits that build your future, you will begin to see real, meaningful progress. The first step in eliminating distractions is awareness. You have to become conscious of where your time is going, of how you are spending your energy, of what is pulling your attention away from your goals. This requires honesty, because it is easy to justify distractions, to tell yourself that they are necessary, that they are harmless, that you will get back on track later. But awareness cuts through those excuses. It shows you the reality of your habits, the patterns that are holding you back, the areas where your focus is being lost. And once you see it clearly, you have the power to change it. Not all distractions are external. Some of the most powerful distractions come from within. Thoughts of doubt, fear, insecurity, overthinking, these can pull you away from your path just as easily as anything else. You may sit down to work, to focus, to take action, and suddenly your mind starts wandering, questioning, hesitating. And if you are not aware, you can lose valuable time and energy to these internal distractions. This is why focus also requires mental discipline. It requires you to guide your thoughts, to bring your attention back when it drifts, to choose what you focus on intentionally rather than letting your mind wander aimlessly. Eliminating distractions does not mean removing everything from your life. It means making conscious choices about what deserves your attention. It means identifying what truly matters, what aligns with your vision, what contributes to your growth, and then prioritizing those things consistently. This requires clarity, because if you are not clear about what matters, everything will seem important, and when everything feels important, it becomes difficult to focus on anything. But when you are clear, you can filter your decisions. You can say no to what does not align. You can create space for what does. There is a certain calm that comes with focus. When you are fully present in what you are doing, when your attention is not divided, when your mind is not pulled in multiple directions, you experience a sense of clarity and control. You become more effective, more productive, more intentional. Your work improves. Your decisions become sharper. Your energy is used more efficiently. And over time, this focused effort leads to better results, not because you are doing more, but because you are doing what matters most with full attention. It is also important to understand that focus requires boundaries. You cannot expect to stay focused if you are constantly allowing interruptions, if you are always available, if you do not protect your time. Boundaries are not about isolation, they are about intention. They are about deciding when and where you will give your attention. They are about creating an environment that supports your focus rather than undermines it. This might mean limiting certain activities, reducing times on things that do not add value, creating specific periods for deep work, or simply learning to say no when something does not align with your priorities. Discipline plays a key role in this process. Because there will be moments when distractions feel more appealing than the work you need to do. There will be times when it is easier to choose comfort, to choose entertainment, to choose avoidance. And in those moments, discipline becomes your guide. It reminds you of your vision. It brings you back to what matters. It helps you stay committed even when your motivation is low. Because focus is not about feeling inspired all the time. It is about staying consistent regardless of how you feel. As you begin to eliminate distractions, you will notice something interesting. You will start to feel more in control of your time. You will realize that you have more hours available than you thought. You will see that when your attention is not scattered, you can accomplish more in less time. And this creates a sense of momentum. It builds confidence. It reinforces the belief that you are capable of creating the life you want through intentional action and focused effort. Your environment also plays a significant role in your ability to focus. The people you surround yourself with, the spaces you spend time in, the information you consume, all of these influence your attention. If your environment is filled with distractions, it will be harder to stay focused. But if your environment supports your goals, if it encourages growth, if it minimizes unnecessary interruptions, it becomes easier to maintain your focus. This does not mean you need a perfect environment. It means you need an intentional one that aligns with your priorities and supports your discipline. There is also a deeper layer to focus, one that connects with purpose and faith. When you understand why something matters, when you feel a deeper connection to your work, your focus naturally strengthens. You are less likely to be distracted because you know the importance of what you are doing. You are less likely to waste time because you value your purpose. And when you combine that with faith, with the belief that your efforts are meaningful, that your path is guided, that your growth is part of something greater, your commitment becomes even stronger. Focus is not about perfection. There will be moments when you get distracted, when your attention slips, when you lose track of your priorities. But what matters is your ability to return, to refocus, to realign. Each time you bring your attention back, you strengthen your ability to focus. Each time you choose what matters over what distracts you, you reinforce your discipline. And over time, these choices become habits, these habits become part of your identity, and that identity shapes your results. As you continue this practice, you begin to experience a different kind of life. A life where your actions are intentional, where your time is used wisely, where your energy is directed toward meaningful goals. A life where you are not constantly reacting to distractions, but actively creating your path. And that shift is powerful. It allows you to move forward with clarity, with purpose, with consistency. You begin to understand that your time is one of your most valuable resources. Once it is gone, it cannot be recovered. And this awareness changes how you live. It changes how you spend your days, how you structure your routines, how you make decisions. You become more selective, you become more intentional. You begin to ask yourself not just what you can do, but what you should do, what truly matters in the long term. And as you align your focus with what truly matters, you start to see the results of that alignment. Progress becomes visible. Growth becomes consistent. Your confidence increases. Your sense of purpose deepens. And you realize that the life you want is not built through scattered effort, but through focused, intentional action repeated over time. The path to your future is not complicated, but it does require discipline. It requires you to eliminate what does not serve you, to focus on what does, to protect your attention, to use your time wisely, to stay committed even when distractions call your name. And when you do this consistently, you create a powerful momentum that carries you forward, that helps you overcome challenges, that brings your vision closer to reality with each passing day, with each focused moment, with each intentional action, with each decision to choose what truly matters over what simply distracts you, building a life that reflects your priorities, your purpose, your discipline, and your unwavering commitment to stay focused on what truly matters. There is something quietly powerful about the way your life is shaped each day, not by the big moments that happen once in a while, but by the small actions you repeat consistently, the habits you build, the routines you follow, the choices you make when no one is watching. And this is where your future is truly created. It is not built in a single breakthrough or a sudden burst of motivation. It is built in the rhythm of your daily disciplines, in the steady, intentional actions that move you forward little by little, day after day. And when you begin to understand this deeply, you stop waiting for big changes, and you start focusing on small, consistent improvements that compound over time into something meaningful, something lasting, something aligned with the life you want to create. Daily discipline is not about forcing yourself into a rigid structure that feels overwhelming or unnatural. It is about creating simple, repeatable actions that support your goals, actions that you can commit to even on your hardest days, actions that become part of who you are rather than something you struggle to maintain. Because the truth is, motivation comes and goes, feelings change, energy rises and falls, but discipline remains. Discipline is what keeps you moving when motivation fades. It is what keeps you consistent when circumstances are uncertain. It is what turns your intentions into reality through steady effort and commitment. Many people think success comes from doing something extraordinary once in a while. But those who truly grow understand that success is the result of doing the ordinary things extraordinarily well, consistently, with focus and intention. This is something often emphasized by voices like Brendon Burchard, who teach that high performance is not about intensity alone. It is about consistency over time. It is about showing up daily, even when it feels repetitive, even when progress seems slow, even when results are not immediately visible, trusting that each action is contributing to something greater. When you begin to build daily disciplines, you are essentially designing your future in advance. You are deciding how you will use your time, how you will direct your energy, how you align your actions with your goals. And this creates a sense of control, a sense of purpose, a sense of direction. Instead of waking up each day and reacting to whatever comes your way, you begin to live with intention. You have a structure that guides you, habits that support you, routines that keep you grounded and focused. It starts with small commitments. It does not require you to change everything at once. In fact, trying to do too much too quickly often leads to burnout and inconsistency. What matters is choosing a few key disciplines that align with your vision and committing to them fully. It could be waking up at a certain time, spending a few minutes in reflection or prayer, dedicating focused time to your work, practicing a skill, reading something that expands your mind, taking care of your health, or simply organizing your day with clarity. These small actions may seem simple, but when done consistently, they create powerful results. The key is consistency. Not perfection, not intensity, but consistency. There will be days when you feel strong, when your energy is high, when everything flows easily, and on those days, it is important to make the most of that energy. But there will also be days when you feel tired, when your motivation is low, when things feel difficult, and those are the days when discipline matters the most. Because discipline is not about doing your best only when you feel your best. It is about doing what is necessary regardless of how you feel. It is about showing up, even if it is not perfect, even if it is not easy, even if it is just a small step forward. As you continue to practice daily disciplines, something begins to shift inside you. These actions start to become habits, and habits shape your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who is consistent, someone who follows through, someone who is committed to growth. And that identity reinforces your behavior. It makes it easier to continue, to stay on track, to keep building momentum. Because you are no longer relying solely on willpower, you are supported by patterns that have become part of your daily life. There is also a sense of calm that comes with discipline. When you know what you need to do, when you have a routine that supports your goals, when your actions are aligned with your vision, You experience less stress, less confusion, less overwhelm. You are not constantly wondering what to do next. You are not reacting to every distraction. You are not losing time to uncertainty. Instead, you move through your day with clarity and purpose, focusing on what matters most. Discipline also strengthens your relationship with yourself. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you build trust. You prove to yourself that you can rely on your own decisions, your own actions, your own consistency. And that trust is powerful. It builds confidence, not the kind that depends on external validation, but the kind that comes from within, from knowing that you will do what you said you would do. And that confidence influences every area of your life, from your work to your relationships to your personal growth. It is important to remember that discipline is not about being rigid or inflexible. Life will not always go according to plan. There will be unexpected challenges, changes, moments that require you to adapt. And in those moments, discipline is not about forcing yourself to stick to a plan, no matter what. It is about maintaining your commitment to your values and your direction, even if the path shifts. It is about being flexible in your approach, but firm in your intention. Faith can also play a powerful role in your daily disciplines. When you align your actions with a deeper sense of purpose, when you believe that your efforts are meaningful, that your growth is guided, that your path has a purpose, it becomes easier to stay committed. Even when progress is slow, even when results are not immediately visible, faith gives you the strength to continue. It reminds you that every step matters, that every action is part of a bigger picture, that your consistency is not wasted. Over time, the compound effect of your daily disciplines becomes visible. Small improvements add up. Progress becomes noticeable. What once felt difficult becomes easier. What once required effort becomes natural. And the gap between where you are and where you want to be begins to close. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but steadily, consistently, through the accumulation of small, intentional actions. You begin to understand that your life is not changed by what you do occasionally, but by what you do consistently. That your future is not determined by a single moment, but by the patterns you repeat daily. And this awareness shifts your focus. It moves you away from seeking quick results and toward building sustainable habits. It helps you value the process, the daily effort, the consistent action that leads to long-term success. There will always be challenges. There will be moments when you feel like giving up, when your progress feels slow, when your efforts seem unnoticed. But discipline keeps you grounded. It reminds you of your commitment. It brings you back to your routine, to your habits, to your purpose. And each time you continue despite the difficulty, you become stronger. You build resilience. You develop the ability to keep going, to stay focused, to remain consistent, even when things are not easy. Your environment can support your discipline as well. Creating a space that encourages focus, surrounding yourself with positive influences, reducing distractions, organizing your time effectively, all of these can make it easier to maintain your habits. Because discipline is not just about internal strength. It is also about creating conditions that support your growth. Small changes in your environment can have a significant impact on your consistency. And as you continue to build and strengthen your daily disciplines, you begin to experience a deeper sense of control over your life. You are no longer reacting to circumstances. You are actively shaping your future. You are not waiting for change. You are creating it through your actions. And this sense of ownership is empowering. It gives you confidence. It gives you direction. It gives you the ability to move forward with intention and purpose. The path to your future is not built in a single day, but it is built every day. It is built in the quiet moments, in the small choices, in the consistent actions that may seem insignificant at the time, but become powerful over time. And when you commit to these daily disciplines, when you align them with your vision, when you stay consistent despite challenges, you create a life that reflects your effort, your commitment, your purpose, and your belief in what is possible, a life shaped not by chance but by intention, not by occasional effort but by daily discipline, not by fleeting motivation but by steady, consistent action repeated again and again, moving you forward step by step, day by day. Closer and closer to the future you have chosen to create, grounded in calm focus, steady progress, and an unshakable commitment to keep showing up no matter what comes your way. There comes a point on every meaningful path where you are faced with a quiet but powerful choice, a choice between staying where you are because it feels safe or stepping forward into something uncertain because it calls you to grow. And that choice is where courage begins. Acting with courage despite fear and uncertainty is not about eliminating fear from your life. It is about learning to move forward with it, to carry it without letting it control you. To recognize that fear is often a signal that you are standing at the edge of something important, something that has the potential to change you, shape you, elevate you into a new version of yourself. Fear is natural. It is part of being human. It appears when you step into the unknown, when you take risks, when you pursue something meaningful. It can show up as doubt, as hesitation, as overthinking, as the quiet voice that tells you to wait, to play it safe, to avoid discomfort. And if you are not aware, it can keep you stuck, repeating the same patterns, living within the same limits, never fully stepping into your potential. But courage changes that dynamic. Courage does not silence fear. It puts it in its place. It allows you to acknowledge it without obeying it, to feel it without being ruled by it. This is something deeply understood in high-performance teachings, often emphasized by voices like Brendon Burchard, who remind us that the quality of our lives is determined by the level of courage we bring to our decisions. Because every step forward requires a level of uncertainty. There is no path of growth that is completely comfortable, completely predictable, completely free of risk. And if you wait for certainty before you act, you may find yourself waiting forever. But when you choose courage, you begin to move despite the unknown, trusting that clarity will come through action, that confidence will grow through experience, that strength will develop through challenge. Acting with courage begins with a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing fear as something to avoid, you begin to see it as something to understand. You ask yourself, what is this fear trying to protect me from, and is that protection still necessary? Because often fear is rooted in past experiences, in moments where things did not go as planned, where you felt hurt, rejected, or uncertain. And while those experiences may have shaped your thinking, they do not have to define your future. Courage allows you to separate the past from the present, to recognize that you are not the same person you were before, that you have grown, that you have learned, that you are capable of handling more than you once believed. There is also a deeper truth about fear, one that becomes clear as you continue to grow. Fear does not disappear when you achieve something. It simply shifts. There will always be new levels, new challenges, new opportunities that bring uncertainty. And this means courage is not a one-time act. It is a continuous practice. It is something you choose again and again in different ways, in different situations, at different stages of your journey. And each time you choose courage, you expand your capacity. You become more resilient. You build a stronger sense of self-trust. You begin to see yourself as someone who can face challenges and move forward regardless of how you feel. One of the most powerful aspects of courage is that it often begins with small actions. It does not require a dramatic leap. It can start with a single decision, a single step, a single moment where you choose to act instead of hesitate. It could be speaking up when you would normally stay silent, starting something you have been delaying, making a decision you have been avoiding, stepping into an opportunity that feels uncertain. These small acts may seem insignificant at first, but they build momentum. They create a pattern. They reinforce the belief that you can act despite fear. And as you continue to take these steps, your relationship with fear begins to change. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. What once stopped you becomes something you can move through. And this is how courage grows. Not by waiting for fear to disappear, but by proving to yourself that you can act even when it is present. Each experience becomes evidence. Each step forward becomes a reminder that you are capable. And over time, this builds a quiet confidence, a sense of inner strength that allows you to face bigger challenges with greater ease. Uncertainty is closely connected to fear. It is the lack of knowing, the absence of guarantees, the space between where you are and where you want to be. And for many people, uncertainty feels uncomfortable, even threatening. It creates a desire for control, for clarity, for assurance. But growth often exists within uncertainty. It is in the moments where you do not have all the answers, where you are learning, adapting, exploring, that real progress happens. Courage allows you to step into that space, to accept that you may not know everything, that things may not go exactly as planned, but that you are willing to move forward anyway. There is a calm strength in this approach. It is not about rushing or forcing outcomes. It is about steady, intentional movement. It is about trusting the process, trusting your ability to adapt, trusting that each step will lead to the next. And this trust is built through experience. It grows each time you face uncertainty and choose to act. It deepens each time you navigate a challenge and come out stronger. It becomes part of who you are, a quiet confidence that supports you in every area of your life. Faith can also play a powerful role in courage. When you believe that your path has purpose, that your steps are guided, that your efforts are meaningful, it becomes easier to move through fear. Faith does not remove uncertainty, but it provides a sense of direction within it. It reminds you that you are not alone in your journey, that there is a greater plan unfolding, that your willingness to act, to grow, to step forward is part of something bigger. And this belief can give you the strength to continue even when things feel unclear. Courage also requires letting go of the need for perfection. Often fear is tied to the desire to get everything right, to avoid mistakes, to ensure success before taking action. But this mindset can keep you stuck. Because perfection is not a starting point, it is a process. It is something that develops through experience, through learning, through trial and error. When you allow yourself to take imperfect action, you create space for growth. You give yourself permission to learn, to adjust, to improve. And this makes it easier to move forward. Because you are no longer waiting for everything to be perfect. There will be moments when courage feels difficult, when fear feels strong, when uncertainty feels overwhelming. And in those moments, it is important to come back to your purpose, to remember why you are taking this path, why this matters to you. Because purpose gives meaning to your actions. It provides motivation beyond comfort. It reminds you that what you are working toward is worth the effort, worth the challenge, worth the courage it requires. As you continue to act with courage, you will notice a shift, not only in your actions, but in your identity. You will begin to see yourself as someone who faces challenges, who embraces growth, who steps forward despite fear. And this identity shapes your future. It influences how you approach opportunities, how you respond to setbacks, how you navigate uncertainty. It becomes a source of strength, a foundation upon which you build your life. You begin to understand that the life you want is not found in comfort zones, it is created beyond them. That the opportunities you seek often exist on the other side of fear. That the growth you desire requires you to step into the unknown, to take risks, to trust yourself and your journey. And this understanding changes how you live. It shifts your focus from avoiding discomfort to embracing growth. It encourages you to take action, to move forward, to keep going even when things feel uncertain. Every act of courage, no matter how small, contributes to your progress. It moves you forward. It builds momentum. It strengthens your resilience. And over time, these actions accumulate. They create a path. They shape your future. A future not defined by fear or hesitation, but by your willingness to act, to grow, to step forward with intention and belief. You do not need to have all the answers. You do not need to eliminate every doubt. You do not need to feel completely ready. You only need to be willing to take the next step, to act despite fear, to trust that you will figure things out along the way. And as you do this consistently, as you continue to choose courage over comfort, action over hesitation, growth over fear, you begin to create a life that reflects your strength, your resilience, your willingness to step into the unknown with calm determination, steady focus, and an unshakable commitment to keep moving forward, no matter what challenges arise, no matter how uncertain the path may seem, no matter how many times fear tries to hold you back, choosing again and again to act with courage, to rise above hesitation, to step into your potential, and to continue building your future through every bold, intentional, courageous step you take. There is a quiet strength that begins to grow within you when you choose to believe that your life is not random, that your journey is not without meaning, that there is a greater purpose guiding your steps, even when the path is not fully clear. And that strength comes from faith. Strengthening your faith and believing in God's plan for your life is not about ignoring challenges or pretending that everything is easy. It is about developing a deep inner trust that no matter what you face, you are being shaped, guided, and prepared for something meaningful. It is about finding calm in the middle of uncertainty, clarity in moments of confusion, and hope even when circumstances seem difficult. Faith is not something that appears instantly in its strongest form. It grows over time through experience, through reflection, through moments where you choose to trust, even when you do not fully understand. There will be times when life does not go according to your expectations, when doors close, when plans change, when outcomes are different from what you hoped for. And in those moments, it is easy to question, to doubt, to wonder why things are happening the way they are. But faith invites you to look deeper, to consider that there may be a purpose beyond what you can currently see, that there may be lessons, growth, and preparation happening beneath the surface. This kind of belief has been echoed in many teachings of personal growth, including those shared by voices like Brendon Burchard, who often emphasize the importance of connecting your efforts with a deeper sense of purpose. Because when you believe that your life has meaning, that your actions matter, that your journey is guided, it changes how you approach everything. It gives you strength during challenges. It gives you patience during delays. It gives you courage when facing uncertainty. And it allows you to keep moving forward with a sense of calm assurance. Strengthening your faith begins with awareness. It begins with recognizing the moments in your life where things have worked out in ways you did not expect, where challenges have led to growth, where difficulties have shaped your strength, where setbacks have redirected you toward something better. When you reflect on these moments, you begin to see a pattern, a sense that there is more happening than what is immediately visible. And this awareness becomes a foundation for your faith. It reminds you that even when things are unclear, there is a bigger picture unfolding. Faith also requires surrender, not in a way that removes your responsibility, but in a way that releases your need to control everything. There is a balance between taking action and trusting the process. You are called to do your part, to make decisions, to take steps, to work toward your goals. But you are also invited to trust that not everything is within your control, that some aspects of your journey are guided by a greater plan. And when you find that balance, you experience a sense of peace. You do not feel the need to force outcomes. You do not feel overwhelmed by uncertainty. Instead, you move forward with intention while trusting that things will unfold as they are meant to. There is a calm that comes from this kind of faith. It is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet, steady, grounding. It allows you to face challenges without panic, to navigate uncertainty without losing direction, to experience setbacks without losing hope. It reminds you that your current situation is not the final chapter, that your story is still unfolding, that there is more ahead of you. And this perspective changes how you see your journey. It shifts your focus from what is missing to what is possible, from what is uncertain to what is meaningful. Faith also influences your mindset. When you believe in God's plan, you begin to see challenges differently. Instead of asking why this is happening to you, you begin to ask what this is teaching you. Instead of feeling defeated by obstacles, you begin to see them as opportunities for growth. Instead of losing hope during difficult times, you hold on to the belief that something greater is being prepared. And this mindset creates resilience. It helps you stay strong, stay focused, stay committed even when things are not easy. There will be moments when your faith is tested, when doubt tries to enter, when circumstances feel overwhelming. And in those moments, strengthening your faith becomes a choice. It becomes a decision to trust, even when you do not have all the answers, to believe even when the outcome is uncertain, to continue even when the path is unclear. And each time you make that choice, your faith grows stronger. It becomes more stable, more grounded, more resilient. Practices like reflection, prayer, and quiet moments of connection can help deepen your faith. Taking time to pause, to be still, to reflect on your journey, to express gratitude, to seek guidance. These moments create space for clarity and connection. They allow you to step away from the noise and business of daily life and reconnect with your purpose, with your beliefs, with your sense of direction. And in that space, your faith is nurtured. It becomes a source of strength that you can return to whenever you need it. Gratitude is also closely connected to faith. When you take time to appreciate what you have, to recognize the blessings in your life, to acknowledge the progress you have made, you strengthen your belief that good things are present and possible. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is already there. It reminds you that even in challenging times, there are aspects of your life that are meaningful, that are valuable, that are worth appreciating. And this perspective supports your faith. It helps you stay positive, stay hopeful, stay grounded. As your faith grows, it begins to influence your actions. You become more confident in your decisions. You are more willing to take steps forward, even when the outcome is uncertain. You are less held back by fear, because you trust that you are being guided. You become more patient, understanding that timing is part of the process. You become more resilient, able to handle challenges with strength and calm. And these qualities support your growth. They help you move forward with consistency and purpose. Faith also connects you to a deeper sense of identity. It reminds you that you are not defined by your circumstances, by your past, by your challenges. You are defined by your purpose, by your potential, by the path you are walking. And this identity gives you strength. It helps you rise above difficulties. It helps you stay focused on your direction. It helps you continue even when things feel uncertain. There is also a sense of trust that develops when your faith is strong. Trust in the process. Trust in your journey. Trust in the timing of your life. You begin to understand that not everything needs to happen immediately, that growth takes time, that preparation is part of the process. And this trust allows you to be patient. It allows you to stay committed without feeling rushed or anxious. It allows you to move forward with a sense of calm confidence. You begin to see that your journey is not just about reaching a destination, it is about becoming the person you are meant to be along the way. Every experience, every challenge, every step contributes to that growth. And when you view your life through this perspective, you find meaning in the process. You find purpose in the effort. You find strength in the journey itself. Strengthening your faith does not mean that you will never face doubt or difficulty. It means that you have a foundation to return to when those moments arise. It means that you have a source of strength that supports you, a belief that guides you, a sense of purpose that keeps you moving forward. And this foundation becomes an essential part of your life. It influences how you think, how you feel, how you act, how you respond to challenges. As you continue to nurture your faith, you begin to experience a deeper sense of peace. Not because everything is perfect, but because you trust that everything has a purpose. You become more present, more grounded, more connected to your journey. You are able to move forward with confidence, knowing that you are not alone, that your path is meaningful, that your efforts are part of something greater. And this sense of faith becomes a guiding force in your life. It supports you in your decisions. It strengthens you in your challenges. It encourages you in your growth. It reminds you that your future is not just something you create through action, but something that is also guided by purpose, shaped by experiences, aligned with a plan that is unfolding step by step, moment by moment, as you continue to trust, to believe, to act with intention, to move forward with calm assurance, to stay grounded in your purpose, to embrace your journey with patience and strength, allowing your faith to grow deeper with every experience, stronger with every challenge, and more present with every step you take, guiding you gently and steadily toward the life you are meant to live, supported by a quiet, unwavering belief that you are on the right path, that your journey has meaning, and that everything is unfolding exactly as it needs to, even when you cannot yet see the full picture. As we come to this moment, take a deep breath and recognize how far you've already come, not just in life, but even in your awareness right now. Something inside you has shifted. You are no longer just listening, you are reflecting, you are feeling, you are beginning to see your life differently. And that is where transformation begins, in these quiet realizations that gently guide you toward a new way of thinking, a new way of living. You now understand that your future is not something distant or out of reach. It is something being shaped in every decision you make, every thought you hold, every action you take. You are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are not waiting for life to change. You're the one creating that change, step by step, with intention and awareness. There will be moments after this where life tries to pull you back into old patterns, where distractions return, where doubt whispers again, where fear tries to slow you down. But now you are different. Now you are aware, and awareness gives you the ability to pause, to choose differently, to respond with purpose instead of reacting out of habit. Remember that growth does not happen all at once. It happens in small, consistent steps. It happens in the quiet choices you make when no one is watching. It happens when you stay committed even when it feels slow, even when it feels difficult. Trust that every step forward matters, even the smallest ones, because they are building something greater than you can see right now. Stay patient with yourself. You are not meant to have everything figured out immediately. You are meant to grow, to learn, to evolve. Give yourself permission to be in the process, to make mistakes, to adjust your path, and to keep moving forward with faith and determination. Every experience is shaping you into a stronger, wiser, more focused version of yourself. Hold on to your vision. Keep it close to your mind and your heart. Let it guide your actions. Let it remind you of where you are going, especially in moments when things feel uncertain. Your vision is your anchor. It keeps you grounded when distractions appear and focused when the path feels unclear. And above all, stay connected to your faith. Trust that your journey has purpose, that your steps are guided, that everything you are going through is contributing to your growth. Even when you cannot see the full picture, believe that there is meaning in the process, that there is something greater unfolding in your life. Now, if this message spoke to you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel for daily motivation that keeps you focused, grounded, and moving forward. And I want you to engage. Write a powerful quote in the comments that inspires you, something that reflects the mindset you are choosing today. Also, take a moment and comment one thing you are believing God for today. Speak it, declare it, own it. Because when you put your belief into words, you give it strength, you give it life. You make it real in your heart and your mind. And as you leave this moment and step back into your day, carry this calm determination with you. Move forward with clarity, act with courage. Stay disciplined, protect your focus, and trust your path. Your future is not waiting somewhere ahead. It is being created right now, through you, within you. And because of the choices you are making in this very moment,